Hey everyone, we are back with another update video, and by we I mean with me as always is Corey. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
And this video is going to be predominantly about MetroSiege and Scorpion Boy, but before we get into that, I just wanted to let everyone know, in our previous update video which focused on Damon Claw, I had mentioned that I was hoping to get a new demo build done. That demo build did get done as planned and hoped for, and we did get it out to Corey and the patrons, and one tester in particular that we managed to find when we made testing of Damon Claw a little more open to the public for a short while. And one tester in particular has been extremely diligent and thorough with his bug testing and reporting and gameplay testing and giving us great feedback. So he's one of the few people beyond our patrons that also has access to the full latest build, which includes the level 1 boss fight. Now on to MetroSiege. Now this is a mock-up I'm not even sure the public has seen before. I know I've shown the work in progress for level 4, which is the industrial area. This is the rough design for the highway overpass, which I believe is level 6. Yep. So I just have this on screen to have something to show everyone while I discuss MetroSiege, because we don't have anything new right now to show you actually running in-game. However, the environment for level 4 is being made to actually function by Alex Brown, the programmer of MetroSiege. So I don't want to show anyone that until it's actually fully working, and the goal is to get that working before 2 weeks from now, because there is a very specific retro event. I live in France, so it's in Germany, so I can actually go there relatively easily, and I was actually there 3 years ago at this event. It's called, it was Amiga 34. It was the 34th anniversary of the Amiga computers. Don't worry if you guys don't know what an Amiga computer is. You don't need to know. MetroSiege and Scorpion Boy, from day one, they're being made in a way where we will be able to make real classic Amiga computer versions. It runs on those things, but they will also be available on modern systems. So don't worry if you don't know what an Amiga is. You don't need to know. Just know that I'm going to this retro event because these games do run on that particular retro hardware. We do also hope and plan for ports to other classic systems and some others which we'll probably announce later on. But anyway, the point is, the latest event, Amiga 37, there was a several-year gap for some strange reason. COVID. In the event. So it skipped from Amiga 34 3 years ago to now Amiga 37. There were
So this is the first one back since then.
Yes, since some mysterious problem caused the event to not happen for a few years in a row. But point is, that event is in 2 weeks. So Alex, the programmer of MetroSiege, is working on getting level 4 working. We're probably going to just have to put the thugs from level 1 or level 2 in there, just so people can see everything functioning. But the most important thing is the actual full environment level map with the parallax scrolling and everything should hopefully be fully functional by then. So that'll be kind of like the world reveal at that event of a functioning, although still incomplete, level 4. But it won't have the actual custom enemies that level 4 will eventually have. I'm working on them, but they're the most complex enemies so far for the game. We keep introducing more and more complexity to what the enemies are able to do to make sure there's a nice difficulty grade curve for MetroSiege, but also to keep things interesting. Like, oh, now enemies can do this thing that they couldn't do before. So there's kind of more computations the player has to do and more patterns they have to learn as the game progresses to keep things fresh and keep players on their toes. And so speaking of this event and it's fast approaching, a lot of what I've been doing on top of my day job has been just preparing for this event, getting all of my tickets and reservations and stuff like that all squared away. But aside from that, I've just been working with the other MetroSiege team members to get level 4 squared away, and then doing some quick work with Erik Hogan, the creator of Scorpion Engine, which we'll get into next, in order to get a nice, decent demo of Scorpion Boy. I wanted to at least have a nice demo, since this is an Amiga-centric retro event. Scorpion Engine is an amazing game authoring tool that someone named Erik Hogan made to allow non-programmers to really hardware bang this classic old 16-bit system to be able to make very high quality retro games amazingly quickly and easily. You guys might know already that Damon Claw is being made by us with Construct 3. And Construct is such an easy authoring system. Even I, an artist, non-programmer, have been able to program all of Damon Claw so far. Scorpion Engine allows me to do a very similar thing in a very similar time frame and make a high-quality 2D game that actually runs on 37-year-old classic 16-bit hardware. But anyway, the point is, the whole reason I started the Scorpion Boy project based on an old mock-up I had made was to test Scorpion Boy to see what its viability might be for Corey and I in the future, to be able to make our own games that actually run not only on modern systems but on classic hardware, and to kind of encourage Erik to progress and add even cooler features and stuff like that, which he has done to an incredible degree. But before I get into all that, I want to actually use a feature here in OBS that I've not used in a long time and switch to full camera mode. Sorry about the graininess. I obviously need to upgrade to a better camera, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the other stuff I'm doing in preparation for the trip. So some of you might know there's videos you could hunt down on our channel where I've actually done illustrations. Before I knew I was going to be a video game creator and pixel artist, I actually thought I was going to be a comic book artist, and I never lost the love for illustration and comic book art and stuff like that. So there's a few videos on our channel where I've done character illustrations of some of the characters from mostly Damon Claw, but I've done a few of the thugs from MetroSiege. So anyway, on my trip at this event, I'm going to be sitting at a table all day for 2 days in a row. And I thought, you know, this is a great opportunity for me to do some illustrations of the actual 2 playable characters that we've revealed to the public so far. Eventually, there's an unlockable 3rd character that we have not shown the public yet. But anyway, the point is, I needed some stuff to make that possible for the trip. So I got a very simple plastic carrying case to carry the size illustration board that I use and that American comic book illustrators use. And then I have a huge assortment of different types of illustration boards and papers. And I just started experimenting with some to see what kind of coloring system I can use for the illustrations, to see which boards can take the most abuse from the particular media I chose. The problem was I had done some research and I read, because I have, if you could see behind me, I have some alcohol-based designer markers. Sometimes when people bring them on a plane, because of the pressurization that happens, so if they open the marker, it could spray the fairly permanent ink, and even though my markers are cheaper than Copics, that would be a huge waste of money. So I had to do some thinking. The other thing, I came up with a system of buying pigmented inkjet printer inks. The normal ones you buy, because they're dye-based, they're not very permanent. The colors fade quickly with age and sunlight. And I actually came up with a system of pre-mixing custom colors, and behind me there, under the MetroSiege logo, there's a whole set of custom colors I made, which works great. It's amazingly inexpensive and really works nicely. A lot of my videos that I mentioned of me illustrating and coloring characters from our games were using that system, but that's not only too cumbersome to carry, a bunch of bottles of pre-mixed ink, but then you're not supposed to carry a bunch of weird mystery colored fluids onto a plane. So anyway, long story slightly shorter, I realized my best bet was going to be watercolor pencils. And so I got lucky and found a sale on a really good assortment of, I think, like 72 colors. And you guys can count it on the, yeah. But it's like just really nice range of color. And for those of you that never used watercolor pencils before, they're great because you can use them exactly like regular colored pencils. But then a lot of the sets now come with a regular traditional brush, but also this plastic thing. Let me get it properly on camera. This thing here. This is a synthetic nylon brush tipped almost like a marker, but its whole handle is a reservoir for water. So as you're using it, it's continually feeding new fresh water, but at a very slow pace so that it always is just damp enough to do its job of helping you blend the color you laid down on the illustration board dry with the pencils. And just so basically the end result looks virtually identical to if you had a whole big watercolor set or those inks I can't bring with me. But I get to work safe and dry. I don't even need a cup of water. I don't need bottles of ink I can lose or spill or that won't get allowed on the plane, so I have to throw them out or cancel my trip or something. So it's definitely going to be the best solution. So anyway, the point is, while I'm there at my table letting people play MetroSiege and Scorpion Boy, I'll be there for hours, so I'll be working on the illustrations, and hopefully people that are waiting in line to play MetroSiege and Scorpion Boy will have fun watching me work on these illustrations and stuff like that. And now let's switch over to Scorpion Boy and the Scorpion engine. As I mentioned previously, Erik has been pretty much from day one when I first heard of this project. His progress on optimizing, enhancing, and adding features to Scorpion engine has been absolutely incredible, and it's only excelled since I started working with him on Scorpion Boy. He really added every advanced hardware banging custom feature that I requested days after I mentioned it. It was just in there and working beautifully, and always even better than I had imagined. And that continues. Most recently, very rarely will a game engine or authoring system get an optimization pass that has a really significant improvement to it. Like usually an optimization pass will get you another maybe couple of percent performance increase or something like that. About a month ago, Erik got some whopping like 20% performance increase over the previous build. And then just when I thought, wow, we'll never see an improvement like that again, it'll just be like, always getting out that little extra percent at a time. And then literally just like a week after that one, there was a new release build out, and the performance increase was another 40%, which is insane. And one of the cool things I should mention, and again, for those of you that don't know what an Amiga is, don't worry, you don't need to know, but one good thing to know about the Amiga is it has the same exact main processor as the Sega Mega Drive, aka Genesis, and the Neo Geo has a faster version of that processor, but all of the code and logic for the Amiga and Mega Drive version of the processor will work fine on the Neo Geo as well. So basically an engine, a game authoring system that programs all of its logic and code for the Motorola 68000 family of processors, you're already a really big step in the direction of making it able to compile games for those systems. The big hurdle after that is how it handles the graphics, which are very different between the different systems, but that's far less of a big deal than the logic. Like the logic is everything from the AI, enemy behavior, keeping track of hit points, and one of the most important thing is collision detection and all that stuff. So, and that ties in to not only to the fact that the Amiga shares that processor, but that was another massive step toward getting the Scorpion engine able to allow us to design a game and export it from modern systems and Amiga and a Mega Drive. And hopefully in the future, he does have other platforms planned. It's just a matter of time. And obviously, the more support and more excitement, the more encouragement he gets, the faster everything can happen. So just to show you how teasingly close things are getting, now a really cool thing, that was another request of mine, is even now you can set target platforms. So right now it's still mostly Amiga-centric, but even now we can compile these games to run perfectly on modern Windows systems and Mac, and even things like iPhone and Android. So that's already in good shape. But Corey and I, we really want to hit, especially the really well-known retro platforms like Mega Drive. So you could see it's already on the list here. As he continues to work on that end of things. So we'll keep you updated on that because we'll obviously be really excited about that. But in the meantime, I always wanted the ability, the classic Amiga had two main forms of its graphic hardware. There was the original, which was called OCS, Original Chipset. And then AGA came many years later, Advanced Graphics Architecture, which had a faster processor and could throw a lot more colors from a higher color fidelity on screen, more sprites and those kind of things. So I always thought it would be so cool if I could work on a game once and have it compile and kind of upgrade itself to these different things. So I requested that feature in Scorpion Engine, where if I organized my folders in a certain way and I had a separate set of some of the graphics and some of the level maps and stuff like that, that I could make the game once and compile it out for different target systems. And of course, one of those target systems will eventually be Mega Drive. So that was another huge step toward getting Mega Drive and eventually other platform export supported. So anyway, let me actually show you the progress I've been making on Scorpion Boy itself. But anyway, so you could see, I don't know if you've seen this latest version, Corey, but I changed that kind of abstract thing with stained glass to an actual fairy statue. Like right. Fairy goddess statue, still with the translucent wings this time instead of the glass. And that now actually functions as a checkpoint. So if I die, I start back. And there's a few throughout the level to make this demo level as easy as possible. And then these things are actually like signposts. So you get guided along your way. You can skip them, obviously, if you want to. But it actually gives you a message and gives you clues about upcoming challenges or gameplay. Like this tells me that I can bounce off of enemies to get to higher places. So let me actually do that. And it's pretty cool. There's that broken column there. You can use it as a step, but because it's on that angle and it's smooth, you actually automatically slide off of it. So you only have a second to, unless you constantly adjust your footing, you only have a second to jump back off of it. So there's all those messages. I can block and send an enemy bouncing. I can actually make him fall into those spikes that way and die that way. Nice. So, but yeah, there's a lot of messages, so I won't read all of them, but this one tells you that there are hidden switches that you can see because of your magical sword. And if you use your projectile weapons and hit the switch, that things will happen. So that summoned this platform here, so I can get across this pretty big spiky pit. And then this one tells me I can block and redirect enemy shots, and that I can do a slide move. So both of those things could come in handy for this particular enemy. So again, those messages guide you. And those two tell me about my strongest attack, which is kind of like the NES DuckTales downward attack you can do. Like Scrooge McDuck would pogo with his cane.
Right.
And so you do that same thing with your sword, but unlike pogoing, if you miss an enemy and stick in the ground, you'll get stuck there, and if you shake the joystick back and forth or D-pad quickly, you'll be able to pull the sword out of the ground faster, because otherwise you are vulnerable to enemies hitting you or shooting you or something. So here's the first checkpoint. So if I were to die, I'd actually restart here. And then this message tells me I can deflect shots, and that actually is used to turn that switch on, which otherwise is out of reach with my projectile weapons. And then this one tells me I can use some destroyed enemies to get up to higher places.
Cool, yeah.
Yep. So, and as you can see, like the performance, Erik has helped a lot, not only helping me change the code in this game to optimize it as much as possible, but also, as I mentioned, optimizing Scorpion Engine itself. So the game is running incredibly smoothly on the actual retro target platforms, and obviously has no problem running silky smooth on the modern platforms that it can also export to. So here's a little mini boss fight. I'm certainly going to make it more difficult by the time it's a real game, but you can actually bounce the shots back at him. If you miss, you can actually block the shot as it spreads across the floor, and you can jump up and hit him. He shouldn't be going off screen like that, but that's a little coordinate thing I need to fix. And oh yeah, you have another kind of weapon that you can, like a bomb or grenade type thing that you can throw. And that's it. When you beat it, it just restarts the demo level. So that's what I've got working in time for this event, Amiga 37. But what won't be revealed until Amiga 37 is I've made that enhanced version for AGA Amigas. And the cool thing is, like, it doesn't just run smoother. It actually, this game thinks, believe it or not, that it's a 16 color game. There's way more colors than 16 because of some hardware banging tricks. But the actual playable character, the enemies, and the foreground graphics all have to use the same basically 15 color indexes. And I'm just being very careful and creative with my color usage and stuff like that. And then getting those other colors on screen with the background layer, which can have its own colors within some fairly strict limitations. But the point is, for AGA, we can up the environment graphics and all of the characters and enemies. Instead of sharing 15 colors, they can use 30, I guess technically 31 colors. So as Corey knows, the great pixel artist he is, every additional, when you're working with so few colors, every additional color index is just amazing how much more you can do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so going up from 15 to somewhere in the family of 30 colors you can spread around is pretty amazing. But also, so not only is there that giant visual upgrade, but because the system can also run faster, Scorpion Engine supports animated tiles in the background. So I actually have made a lot of the leaves of that like plant life in the background subtly blowing in the wind, which added an incredible amount of like life and livelihood to the environment. So like a huge chunk of the environment on screen is animating in the enhanced version. And we're working, actually, I should be recording a video tomorrow morning, which will be Monday morning at the time we're recording this, with Erik, where he's going to help me finalize and that advanced or enhanced Amiga version of this game, getting back in some additional parallax extreme foreground objects to add even more. And we might even be able to get a mid layer. Like you can already see there's a lot going on in the background. There's a parallaxed back layer that has a lot of layers scrolling at different speeds. But what I'm hoping, I designed some pylon type things that'll occasionally be back there scrolling at a middle speed and having a middle color and contrast to be obviously somewhere in between that closest part of the background and this foreground. And then on top of that, we'll be getting like really up close things in the extreme foreground that scroll even faster. So we'll have just more color everywhere, animated tiles really adding a lot of life to the lush environment, and a lot of extra parallax. And it's like so easy. You develop your game, you program all the logic, all that stuff you do once, and then you literally just have fun upgrading some of your graphics in a different folder to use those additional color indexes. And then you literally just tell it, like you saw there, you just tell it which platform you're targeting, and you run it or compile it, and it just uses those newer, better assets. So, and then hopefully someday, it's moving quickly in that direction, we'll be able to do the same exact thing for a Mega Drive, and maybe someday even a Neo Geo. And there's another platform we'll mention later on, like retro platform that he also wants to target. But, obviously the two big ones that Corey and I would love to be able to use Scorpion Engine for, aside from what it can already do, like I said, modern systems and classic Amiga systems, Mega Drive and Neo Geo. Because, hey, if you're going to spend all the time and energy and really put your love and effort, as we do, into making retro games, when they can hit such popular retro systems and, have the game seen and played and hopefully purchased by so many more people, that makes it way easier for us to make more future games and stuff like that. So, plus, as fans growing up of both consoles, man, we both can't wait to be able to do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's pretty much it for this video. Again, in roughly 2 weeks, I will be at Amiga 37 in Germany. While I edit this video, I'll be putting the information up on the screen. For any of you followers who are Amigans and already have planned your trip to the event, I look forward to seeing you there and letting you play the latest versions of these two game projects. And like the other big reason I'm going is to just kind of represent the Scorpion engine, because Erik himself could not go, by demoing Scorpion Boy. But anyway, that is it for this video, and thanks very much for watching.
If you enjoy our content and want to keep up to date on our games, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you want to support our projects, consider becoming a patron. The link's in the description, and we'll see you soon.